Hey guys, what's up? Tim Queen here, and today we're going to talk about LinkedIn polls. What are they? How can you use them? Can you use them to generate leads on your business on LinkedIn? We're going to talk about some of the do's and don'ts, like what kind of questions you should ask or shouldn't ask. And we're going to talk about a little bit about etiquette on LinkedIn polls, like how do you deal with like the questions and the answers that you're receiving? Is it okay to reach out to people who have replied a certain answer to one of your polls? I'm going to give you some of my best practices, and yeah, let's get right into it. All right, LinkedIn polls for business. Let's start with doing a couple of LinkedIn poll reviews. I'm going to look at the poll itself. We're going to look at some of the answers, and I'm going to give you my feedback if I think that the poll is doing a good job and the question that is raising, like, is it good to get actually valuable intel, or will you only end up with no data or people just lying to you? And then secondly, we're going to look at it like from a strategic point of view, if this is actually useful to attract more leads for your business or to achieve any business related purpose with it. And at the end, I'm going to give each poll a rating from 1 to 5 star. So let's get started. What is the strangest thing you did while attending a meeting online? And then we have the choice between ate breakfast, brushed my teeth, watched Netflix, other, but my lips are sealed. Now, in my opinion, this is problematic for a lot of different reasons. One, we all know what other, but my lips are sealed means. We are obviously talking about people who thought the camera was off and then doing the unthinkable in front of everyone. So do you honestly expect anyone doing anything even remotely close in that direction that this person would even press the button other, but my lips are sealed? Because they wouldn't necessarily expect that everyone would think they're a total pervert and they don't want to look bad in front of LinkedIn. So from a data point of view, it's just ridiculous to ask this question and to give these answers, because like if you're asking something like, what did someone crazy do? The definition of crazy is that it's probably something nobody can think of. So why would you think that the majority of answers would fall anywhere into your three main categories, like eating breakfast, brushing your teeth, or watching Netflix? Now, the other thing is also person asking this question is involved in like talent solutions. So another point, like, why would anyone be honest and admit to doing something that would be considered very unprofessional when talking to a potential recruiter? Maybe you can ask this like in a private context where there is no repercussion, but publicly replying to a poll like this and even like looking at it from a point of view like who's asking the question, like a potential recruiter, it would make no sense whatsoever to answer in any way honestly. Not to mention that there's probably not a real answer that would cover actually the crazy thing that I might have done during a meeting. Then from a strategic point of view, like what business objective are you trying to achieve by asking this poll? Like, how is the poll helping you to connect with potential customers? How is it helping you to create trust with your audience? How is it helping you to segment people? How is it helping you to qualify people and to follow up with certain people? It doesn't fit in any of those business objectives. And judging by the hashtags that you are going for, poll, polls, question, opinion poll, fun poll, it seems like your objective seems to be more like going for the more popular polls and just getting like the numbers up. So if that's your objective, then fine, you can get 72 votes, get like a couple of likes, but it's really not in any way useful for your business. It's just wasting your time. So I would give this from a business point of view 1 of 5 stars. Then we have, do you personalize every connection request you make on LinkedIn? And the options are always, most of the time, never, and other, please comment. And now the question is, will this actually give you any useful information? Like, because you can just check your LinkedIn invitation and see how many people are personalizing their messages, and just by counting you probably get a more accurate results than asking people if they personalize it. The other thing is also like, what again are you trying to achieve by asking this question? Like, how will this help you to take those answers and then identify, oh, someone who is always personalizing their connection requests would be a perfect customer for my business. Or you say like, oh, I only work with people who never personalize their connection request. It just doesn't make any sense. The information is not in any way useful. And you might ask, please comment. But then again, you're asking people to do two things, to click the button and then to comment. What I found is there is really no good way. Like, people will not click the other button. They will just reply in the comments if they feel like they want to be heard and there is no option. But they will hardly ever click the other button. Now, I have to give you some props for actually writing this extended description before your poll. So you're also using like relevant hashtag, LinkedIn networking, connecting. So I assume you're actually looking for some information. I'm just saying it's not really useful to ask those questions. I would give this poll 2 of 5 stars. This one asks, what do you miss most about growing up? Someone working at care and nursing home. We have the option of less responsibility, sweets, friends, something else. This is a very personal question, limiting it kind of in the sense of just giving some people some option, but just like, if you ask me this question, I could think of a million ways to answer this. And I can think of a million different people answering this in a different way. So just like thinking you can squeeze this into 3 different options, like sweets. I am sure you have adult money now and you can buy all the sweets that you want. So I don't really know how you can miss that. Like friends, I don't know. Do we not keep friends throughout our life? I don't know. Maybe that's like for some people who have lost all of their childhood friends. But then less responsibility from a data gathering point of view, I would say this is like the only valid answer that would give you some insights. From business point of view, I don't really get it. Like, what is your idea of asking this? Like, why would you want to be interested in what people miss most about growing up? Unless you were, let's say, a reporter and you're writing an article and you want to get some insights. But in this case, wouldn't it make much more sense to ask an open-ended question, write a regular LinkedIn post and ask people to share their ideas in the comments section instead of trying to squeeze this into a poll? Now, I would say this poll has not really the purpose of gathering data, rather than the person is looking for engagement. Also using those emojis, it's very playful. I personally would say it's a waste of time if you want to use that for a business perspective. Like, there's no real way. Like, let's say you were like a relationship coach or something like that, if that exists, and you would say, hey, if someone says they're missing their friends, and you say, hey, I can teach you how to make new friends. Like, maybe in that way, like from this weird angle, you might say, hey, this could be useful by identifying this group who presses button number 3. But other than that, it's just like a fun poll, and I would give it 1 of 5 stars. Then we have, what's your favorite time to surf LinkedIn? We have someone working in finance, fintech, and so the options are good morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., multitasking apparently a time, after 10 a.m., then we have good evening, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., and done for the day, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now, why would this answer be useful? I can tell you like one use case where you might want to be interested when someone is surfing LinkedIn. This might be useful from a lead generation perspective. If you want to know when is your target audience online, so you know like when to get online, when to send someone messages, or it could be useful to if you want to publish content and you want to know when is your audience like awake and active on LinkedIn. These are the only two use cases where I can see that this would make sense. The person working in fintech doesn't really make any sense to me unless this person was working in sales. It's more like a fun question. Also, the LinkedIn fam hashtag gives you an indication that this person is here to have a good time, not really like generating any leads. So it's just like an entertaining poll. Wouldn't really help you to find new customers for your fintech business. So this one I would give 2 out of 5. The next one, when it comes to hiring new employees, what is the first thing you look for in a possible candidate? Comes from someone working in talent development. In fact, an executive with global experience in leadership and talent development. And apparently this person needs some advice, like what they should look in when they're receiving a new CV. The options are relevant education or relevant experience, or the, as we discussed before, not very useful something else in commons option. Now, why is this not really useful? Like, it's your bread and butter. You should know what is important to you when you are evaluating a CV. It shouldn't be depending on like you gathering data, and then especially as a senior person, it just makes you look bad if you have to ask, like, maybe looking for some direction, if you should rather focus on education or experience. I'm also pretty sure this really depends on the role title. If you have an entry-level job, you would rather, of course, look more at the education than the experience section. So I don't really see the point. Like, are you trying to find some information? In this case, like what other people are doing. In this case, it makes you look bad as an executive or senior role person. If you're looking for this as a way to hire someone, like, let's say as a recruiting company, you might think, hey, we only want to hire people who consider experience the most important part of any CV, like people who think education is important. We don't want to have them in our company. So in this really odd and not really serious example, like you might say, hey, like people replying to the relevant experience section, this might actually help you. But then again, wouldn't you just be able to tell them and say, hey, if you're looking at CVs, I want you to focus on experience first, education second. It's very easy. It just takes you 10 seconds to spill out the objective of how to evaluate CVs for your business. So I don't really see the business point of view. There's no strategic point of view. I would give this like 1 of 5 stars. Then this one, what's your go-to form of physical exercise? This one comes from a fitness expert, weight loss specialist, online coaching. And the options are cardio, weight resistance training, interval, high intensity interval training, or other. Now, this one is a bit mixed. Of course, as a fitness expert, I assume personal trainer or someone does an online training program for fitness. It will definitely guarantee that whoever is answering any of those questions has an interest in fitness, so it would help you to identify people of your audience. So in that case, you have done a good job. Then again, your answers only limit yourself to identifying people who have already intermediate or advanced level understanding of physical exercise. If you come and ask like a complete newbie who is sitting in his desk or her desk for the last 10 years, has never went out into the gym once, they wouldn't even like know what interval or high intensity interval training, or even like the acronym HIIT, what does it actually mean? So you might miss out on people who might be interested in becoming a customer, but there is like no option for them that would help you to identify them. So basically you're only getting the advanced people who know what all of those relevant industry terms actually mean. So if that's like the target audience you're looking for, that's great. If you're looking for identifying people from all different skill levels, or even like segmenting based on skill level, you're missing an option. So in this case, I would have removed other and have added an option that would allow you to identify the people who are not really into sports. So I would give this 3 out of 5 stars. Then this one, how fast is your website? We have option A, 1 to 3 seconds, B, 4 to 8 seconds, C, 9 to 14 seconds, and D, above 15 seconds. And so this person is highlighting my website loads within 3 seconds. Test your website and from below pick the amount of seconds to take it to load. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to take the screenshots with the see more enabled, so I have no way of knowing if the person actually shared a reliable way of actually how to test your website speed. The person is doing SEO and personal branding strategies, so I assume they're also doing some form of web design or might be able to optimize someone's website speed. In this case, I would say the idea is good, like identifying people who have a slow website. This might be people who might be able to help you. I would say the choices are a bit mixed. Like, for example, what if my website loads in 1 second? Like, why start from 1 second? You might have just as well a really fast website that loads even faster than that. Then the only criteria I would actually recommend is to, hey, set the cutoff point. Say, okay, if it's within, let's say 1 and 3 seconds or 0 and 3 seconds, then this makes a good website. If it's 4 or more seconds or more than 3 seconds, then it's a bad website. So just give people 2 options so it becomes black and white. One is good, one is bad. Because like, you don't want to confuse people. In the end of the day, it doesn't really make a difference if your website loads 14 seconds or if it loads 28 seconds. This is already way too long. So they all basically mean the same results. I would say this one I can give 4 out of 5 stars. If you would optimize it a little bit better, make more relevant answers, it could become a 5-star. Of course, only if you actually explain a way to testing this. That's really easy. Maybe like a website testing site and then explain people how they can get the exact number of seconds. The next one, do you find to-do list helpful? And then we have the option yes, no, and the third option, have suggestions, comment. So so my question is, like, what are you trying to achieve? Like, are you selling to-do list software? Are you doing any form of productivity training that where the answers might give you some indication if someone might be a potential customer? The good thing about this poll is it's actually very simple. It's a yes or no question. So the easier the choices, yes or no, black or white, chocolate or strawberries or something like whatever. If you're giving people binary choices, it's very easy for them to select one. Like, the moment you add like a third choice, I would say your the number of votes drops almost by half, because now people have to compare A to B, A to C, B to C, and then it's way more thinking required to make a conclusion what button to press than if they just have like A or B. It's way less time to think. Even if you have like 4, it becomes like way longer. So the fewer options you have, the better the results. And you can see based on the votes, 917 votes, this one really got a lot of engagement. if you're writing an article about productivity, to-do list, might be a good question to ask. If you're selling to-do list software or productivity books, that could also be useful for you. Or if you're doing any form of like to-do list training, yes, could help. But generally speaking, this is not really giving you any useful information. Like, how are you going to act on that? Like, how will you say, hey, people using to-do list, do they find to-do list helpful? Yes or no? How would that help you to judge someone who says yes? What characteristics does this person have that would make them a better or worse customer? So I would give this 3 out of 5 stars. Then what is your favorite sauce to go with chips? And then we have ketchup, barbecue, mayonnaise, or no sauce, plain, with the additional hint, other, please comment. So I would say actually this one is rather clever for not having an other option and instead just writing this in behind the question. So that's definitely not wasting one of those answers for nothing. From a data point of view, you definitely gonna get honest answers. Like, there is no shame in eating either one of them. If someone likes ketchup or barbecue sauce, mayonnaise or whatever, like, the honesty degree is probably gonna be high. The business strategy point is very low. Like, how are you gonna use that information? Like, how is it making a difference if someone likes mayonnaise or barbecue sauce? Like, unless you were like selling like barbecue sauce, that might be like one of the rare cases that you're selling any one of those products. But then you're also running the risk, like, if you're asking like, hey, you're selling barbecue sauce and then 90% prefer ketchup, and then makes it look bad, like barbecue sauce in comparison doesn't seem to be that popular anymore. So I would give this like 1 out of 5 stars, just because it's totally not useful in any way. The data that you're gathering, there's no business objective that you're trying to achieve, or none that I can see. It's more like a fun poll. So the next one, are you an early bird or night owl? And yeah, well, I guess it does a good job in giving you binary options. But then again, not everyone is an early bird or night owl. Like, how about like normal, like people just waking up in the morning and then going to bed? Like, doesn't have to be everyone waking up either at 4 a.m. or is waking up at like, I don't know, 1 p.m. And then working all night long. There's probably like a good middle ground. So I would definitely say in this case, the options are so clear. People don't really have to think in this scenario if they're like an early bird, normal schedule, or a night owl. So I would definitely have added the third option in this case, because it's makes much more sense if you're actually interested in some data gathering. Then again, from a business point of view, like, what is this poll good for? Like, how does it help you? Are you selling, maybe if you were selling coffee, like, that might give you some information. We're gonna say like, okay, anyone who wakes up early in the morning has to drink some coffee, and then people working late at night might also have to drink some coffee so they don't fall asleep. Maybe something like this, but other than that, I don't really see a business objective that you are able to achieve by being able to segment people based on early bird or night owl. Like, please let me know in the comments if you can think of any scenario where this might be useful. I would give this 1 out of 5 stars. What do you think is the most effective way to market your company? And then we have the option printed brochures, promotional products, direct mail, email blast, social media. Now this is a highly creative way of grouping together different marketing channels. Printed brochures, okay, that's clear. Social media is clear, but then you're mixing together direct mail and email blast. I would say direct mail would much rather fit into the printed brochures category than it would fit together with email. And then promotional products. What does it even mean? Like, this is very unspecific. Are you talking about free samples that someone can get, or some free lanyards that you're giving away on a trade show? Like the data gathering point, the answers don't really make sense. Like, it doesn't really help you. Then what are you trying to achieve? Like, are you trying to understand the market? Like, in this case, your answers don't make any sense. You're not going to get any good data because you didn't properly segment them and group together items that are similar, and like set apart items that are something completely else. Are you trying to get people to like find people, like, let's say you're a printing company and you want to find like people, like, let's say printed brochures are the way to go to get customers. And you're like, oh, hey, by the way, we are also doing printing. Hey, if you want to check, maybe we can give you like a better price for your brochures, or can get quicker delivery times. Now, in this case, if I had to guess based on the hashtag that you're using, promotional products, I would assume you're trying to identify potential customers, but it's kind of, as I mentioned, like, what does it even mean, promotional products? There's not really an example of what that means. And since you're talking to potential customer, you either have the people who know what it means, who are familiar with the term, and then you might have people who might have been interested in maybe doing something in that direction, but they might not have the correct term. So if you want to do a poll about promotional products, I would much rather ask some specific questions if people are familiar with promotional products, or if they have tried specific promotional products in the past, maybe giving them a few examples what a promotional product could be, so people understand, oh, this or this, oh yeah, I've done something like this. Or give them an option like, yeah, I have never tried it, but I would definitely be interested in trying this out sometime. So just based on the current design, it's definitely like trying to, assuming this is correct, that the prom is like trying to sell promotional products. In this case, I would give it like 2 out of 5 stars. For the idea goes in the right direction, but the question design doesn't really make sense. Then we have, what you consider yourself nervous or shy in front of a camera. And then the job title is as a videographer and editor. So so the options are absolutely petrified, a little nervous or shy, I'm fine but don't love it, get it rolling. I assume you're trying to find potential customers, so you have to think about how those answers will be able to help you. Like, if someone is already experienced in getting filmed in front of a camera, then and they're doing a good job, then they probably already know how to do it themselves, or they already work with like a videographer to get this recorded. If you're talking about people who are considering doing some form of video marketing, basically any and all of the answers would give you an indication that the person might be interested in videos. So in that case, it would do a good job by identifying the people. But what you really should ask in this case is, like, why would someone want to make a video? That would be a much better qualifying question, like by asking people, like, have you thought about doing video marketing? And then you could give people like, I've tried it, but I was petrified. But this way you're gathering some ideas for people who might need some help. So I would give this survey 3 out of 5 stars. As employees begin to return to the office in some form, which of these safety measures do you consider the most important in the workplace? We have the option between social distancing and cleansing, compulsory vaccinations, compulsory testing, continuing flexible working. I mean, like, what is the point that you're trying to make? It's not that you're like a business association and you're doing like like a real survey, because you want to understand like how businesses feel about the best way of reopening up. You are asking your LinkedIn audience, which is probably not qualified to give you the right answer, like unless you have like a network full of scientists and medical professionals who would be able to give you, or government officials who are actually making the laws of what will be required to opening up. So I don't really understand how the answers would give you any valuable insights in what is actually the best. Just because something is the most popular doesn't mean it would be the most effective, or it would actually be the legal solution in the end of the day. And then segmentation. Yeah, maybe if you're selling one of those like infrared thermometers where you can have like a camera which is like identifying people who might have fever, maybe in such a use case it might help you to identify specific people, but then you're not asking the right questions. Generally, you want to be way more specific to align people with like the question beyond the question, so you can actually get more information. You don't want to ask like, let me give you an example. Let's say there was a marketing agency and they're looking to find customers who are working in accounting. So how much sense would it make for a marketing agency is like trying to target accountants to ask a question like, do you prefer red apples or yellow apples? Like, this would not get them even in the ballpark of where they get any interesting information. Like, you have to be specific. You can't just like pick something left and right. You have to identify where is actually the information that would actually be helpful, and then ask something really specific. So I would give this one 2 out of 5. Then we have, how much do you give to others monetarily? And we have the choice between 10% of my gross income, I give when I can, I give my time and skills, I give in other ways. I think this is a horrible poll, like asking monetary questions on LinkedIn, and then potentially also asking religious question inside your poll. Like, I mean, if you're one of those religions which have a recommended contribution of 10% of their income, this might help you to identify people who have a certain faith. Then it's also like, kind of, what kind of honesty are you expecting on this poll? Like, if like people who see this kind of question have to evaluate, like, what does it actually say about me if I'm clicking any one of them? Like, if someone says 10% of my gross income, what they're actually saying is like, I'm a person of this faith, or I'm someone who considers him or herself like a person of faith, and I'm proud in that. I give when I can. Then you're basically saying, yeah, I'm kind of poor. I don't really can give. So that's like another thing. You want to embarrass people by making them admit that they can't afford 10% of their income. You're also kind of raising the question, like, what is actually like better? Like, what is the right thing? Is 10% actually the right thing? Is 20% the right thing? Or is it like 5%? Like, do you actually have to give? Are you like a bad person if you're not giving? Like, there's a lot of implications that you're putting into this kind of poll, which makes it really difficult for people to reply in this manner honestly. Then again, I give my time and skills. This one is also, you're saying basically I have no money. Then again, you're also making it kind of look as if someone has to donate their time for free and do stuff for free for others if they can't donate money. Like, you're putting people who are not giving money and not spending free time or not using any of their skills, you make them kind of look bad. There's really no good way, like no answer is really in any way useful. You just make it difficult for people to give you an honest answer. Then let's have a look at what is actually your headline area to teacher, compliance coordinator, add options for use. Okay, if you are doing some maybe volunteering, helping out young people, it could be vaguely related to that. But like, what is your point? Like, what are you trying to achieve? Are you going to reach out to the peoples I give when I can? Are you asking any one of them for money? Are you asking the people who say I'm giving my time and skill and say, hey, do you want to volunteer for my group? You're not going to get any honest answers on this poll. If you get some, then it's going to be people who are trying to brag about themselves, the humble brag group specifically. From a business point of view, doesn't really help you. Any of those answers would not be able to give you any good segmentation of your audience for any purpose of qualifying people. So I would give this 1 out of 5 stars. Now, what are the next steps if you want to do more about LinkedIn polls? Now, if you want to learn more about LinkedIn polls, I just added a completely new module to my LinkedIn Accelerator program. In it, you're going to learn to understand what's stopping people from taking part in your polls. It's not just going to be me reviewing polls. It's just going to be broken down and analyzed and clearly rules what is stopping people and like how can you use that information to actually get people to take part in your survey and to give you honest answers. Then we're going to talk more about in detail how to get more people to take part in your LinkedIn polls. There are different strategies. So a lot of them have to do with your questioning. Then discover this. It's actually 5 types. We have expanded this of questions to ask in your poll. So you're going to get some examples of what question types and are actually good. And I'm going to show you exactly how to structure your answers to get more people to participate. So you get both honest replies, you get a lot of replies, you actually have some useful answers that help you to segment your people. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about how to use the results of the poll effectively. So you can actually see how we can use all of this information now that you know who answered what, how we can use that to follow up in a non-creepy way and actually convert some of those participants into customers. So if you want to sign up for my LinkedIn Accelerator program, my complete A to Z client attraction system for your business, just go to tmiq.co/YTAP. You can also find the link in the description and into the pinned comment below. And if you want to get more videos like this, make sure that you subscribe, notification bell on, press the like button so the YouTube algorithm knows that you love my content and you will see more of it in your newsfeed. That's it for today. See you soon. Bye.